Hey everybody, and welcome to this Wednesday's MBE movie news. I am of course John from MBE, and I am here to discuss some very interesting movie related topics from the world of Hollywood and perhaps beyond as well. Coming in as the main headline, as you'd probably gather from that thumbnail, is a rather intriguing little story about one Leonardo DiCaprio. This one's been broke by the Illuminati, but I'm going all Inception and reading the article from Screen Rant. And yes, they are saying that the actor, Academy Award winning actor of course, is in talks to star as Evel Knievel in an upcoming biopic, which has been doing the rounds via various writing teams, and obviously directors have been pondering whether to take this on. The likes of Scorsese has apparently been linked with it. Don't know if that will happen now, with him of course doing Killers of the Flower Moon, I think it's called, with Leonardo DiCaprio, funnily enough, and Robert De Niro. He is getting old. The man's schedule is busy still, even at his older age. I don't think he will be coming on board, although certainly as I get into this conversation, I may discuss why I feel he should come on board for this movie. But Leonardo DiCaprio is set to take on a movie which has been scripted by Terence Winter, a man who also wrote the Oscar-nominated movie, and winning movie I should say, The Wolf of Wall Street, which of course also starred Scorsese. And the Scorsese sort of 5 degree of separation doesn't really end there either, because there was a previous writer who wrote The Departed, who was initially on board for this movie. I think it was William Monahan, who was another Oscar-winning writer, and he of course worked in collaboration with Martin Scorsese on that one as well. If I am doing myself justice here, I'm pretty damn sure it was Scorsese who did The Departed. If I'm wrong, then I apologise wholeheartedly for my error. It wasn't deliberate. But look, I find this very interesting for a whole array of different reasons. Just the iconic man that was Evel Knievel, this silhouette that you'd see. I mean, there was adverts like 5 years ago following this man's life. He's been dead for about 20 years now, I want to say. I'm from Scotland, and the name is immediately recognisable. I mean, he was doing these crazy stunts 30, 40 years ago, thousands of miles away from where I currently stay, and I know who this guy is. So that is the meat and bones, surface level that you have to work with this guy, a legendary figure in the world of stunt. I don't know what you'd call it. Is it stunt men? I mean, it was just stunt acts. I don't know, but he's a legendary figure. Broke just about every single bone in his body, but as an aside to that, a very colourful character out with the world of obviously high octane stunt jumps and whatnot. He was married twice, he had children, and he had running ins, if I can speak correctly, with the Hells Angels and whatnot. He was a firm advocate against drug usage. But then this biopic, which this movie is seemingly being adapted from, was a source of controversy as well. One Sheldon Saltman, who wrote the novel, was beaten unconscious by Evel Knievel with a baseball bat, because Saltman says that he was abusing drugs and whatnot and being abusive to his family. So there's a lot of controversy surrounding this man's past, a lot of controversy surrounding this novel which is being adapted, and I really can't think of a better man, if this indeed is true, to come in and play this iconic figure than Leonardo DiCaprio, a guy who can just do nuanced, multifaceted characters with numerous little things going on under the surface, even in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as Rick Dalton, playing a sort of bipolar, depressive guy who's got it all but still is deeply unhappy and insecure. That shows you what the man can do. And then also you have so many other iconic performances from this still young actor. I think this is very exciting if it's going to happen. I hope Martin Scorsese is still in the periphery, circling like a vulture, potentially coming in to do this movie, because that collaboration with Scorsese and DiCaprio is something that just seems to work. Lord knows what will come of it though. It's all very much speculative at the moment. Really looking forward to that Killing of the Flower Moon, I think it's called as well, incidentally. I cannot wait to see what him and Bob, Killers of the Flower Moon it is called, incidentally, not Killing of the Flower Moon. But just seeing him and Bob De Niro working together, that is sure to be absolute magic. Another thing that's sure to be absolute magic though, moving on swiftly, is the very next Sony Spider-Man spin-off movie, which has just been given an official release date of October 2021. This has came in from Screen Rant, and I'm sure it's coming via some other source, because Screen Rant always seem to plagiarise the hell out of other news breaking articles, if you like. They never seem to break anything of their own, but they are so accessible that I always go to Screen Rant for my news. They're saying that Sony has scheduled an Untitled Spider-Man spin-off movie for fall 2021, of course autumn if you are from the British Isles. And they're saying that obviously with the failing of capitalising on their own cinematic universe with The Amazing Spider-Man back in 2014, they've worked in conjunction with Disney Marvel over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, I want to say, if not more, fleshing out the Tom Holland Peter Parker Spider-Man character in the MCU, whilst also simultaneously doing some great little things with the immense movie that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with obviously Lord and Miller, and then also doing Venom, and now we have Morbius coming with a stupendously talented Jared Leto playing the titular living vampire, I think his name is. I'm excited for this, man. There's a whole array of possibilities on what this movie could be. If I was to be, not a betting man, but if I had a preference, I'll go for my preference first. My personal preference would be they may be doing not another Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie, because that's already happening, but I'd love to see a live action take on Miles Morales, and maybe framing this through multiverse concepts, and could have it bleeding into the MCU. We always obviously have rumours of things coming back and forth between the MCU and this Sony Spider-Verse universe, whatever you want to call it. And I think that would be amazing to see a live action Miles Morales movie. Sadly though, I think the odds are extremely low that indeed will be the case. I think it will be another continuation of what they've been doing with Morbius, what they've been doing with Venom. Just a villainous standalone movie. What villain could it be? Well, they do say at the bottom of this article that there is a high chance that it could be a Kraven the Hunter movie. Now, having spoke about this character previously and being acutely aware of what makes him tick, I would find it highly unlikely that a Kraven the Hunter movie would be put into production and released without Tom Holland or a Spider-Man figure of some kind appearing in that movie. It's an arch nemesis set up. These two guys don't like each other, and I think Spider-Man is really the raison d'etre of Kraven the Hunter. He hates him and he wants to make everyone aware that he is better than him. I think he put him in a coma in the actual comics. So that would be interesting if we could get a Kraven the Hunter movie, a very powerful antagonistic figure. Maybe we could see that coming over to the MCU as well and being a real powerful figure in terms of antagonists in the next subsequent phases of the MCU. Lord knows, or maybe Sony are just moving all their pawns and chess pieces into play for that moment when Tom Holland's contract runs out with Disney, and then they bring him back and they have a rich and lush plan set up with obviously Vulture working in conjunction with Morbius, working with Venom. Maybe we'll see the Sinister Six popping up. That was another rumour. Could it be a Sinister Six movie? Well, I think it's a little early in the day for that. That would be Justice League levels of flop if they were to release a movie of that ilk in a year's time. I feel there's too much to be done, too many big antagonistic names that would have to have their own story set up in some way. You couldn't introduce these 6 villainous figures in one movie, give them their own little origin introduction to the audience, and then make the story flow in a nice organic manner, and have Spider-Man been in there as well. I don't think that would work. They're suggesting that a Nightwatch movie is being rumoured by Spike Lee. That'd be very intriguing as well. One thing's for sure, look, Sony, in the main, I have criticised them in the past for their handling of the Tom Holland Disney situation. I've also criticised Disney as well for being greedy, gluttonous shits when it comes to wanting the largest share of the monies from obviously these movies. They're wanting 20, 30, 40%. Sony take on all of the funding and whatnot, and that's just not on, sadly. So I've criticised them, but look, Sony in the main have made some really, really good Spider-Man movies. I'm excited for Morbius, as I did say, and Venom was a pleasant surprise. So I'm confident that these guys could get something going on here. They're suggesting that Doc Ock's another thing as well. There's so many possibilities, and I'm sure with this movie being only a year and a half or so away, we will start hearing some information pretty damn soon, if the coronavirus doesn't kill us all in that time. Time will tell. Look guys, I'm going to move on though, because I haven't got much more to say. I've really spoke the hind legs off of that one. The next one's coming in from Empire. It's another very interesting topic to me. It's all about Muppets director James Bobin being in talks to direct an upcoming Clue remake, of course, starring one Ryan Reynolds. This movie is going to be tackled, according to Empire, by a man who is no stranger to doing these sort of movies. He has worked in conjunction with the likes of Ali G and the Concords, and they're suggesting that he has the perfect skill set to work in tandem with Ryan Reynolds, a man who is very funny, has a big personality, has lots of charisma like Sacha Baron Cohen. And I don't disagree with him. There was talk that I think Jason Bateman was directing this movie at one point and was actually going to co-star alongside Ryan Reynolds. That would have been very interesting. I'm pretty sure Jason did a similar double duty. I certainly starred, I'm sure, in Game Night, which was an intriguing little mystery movie which went absolute batshit crazy in the last 35-40 minutes. Look, I've never seen the original Clue movie. I know it starred the likes of Tim Curry. Sound very interesting. I loved playing Cluedo growing up. It was a magnificent game that killed so many hours I should say. A little slanging in there. Once upon a time, back in a day when there wasn't internet and whatnot, and we were in the dark ages and playing with Lego and whatnot. So I've got a connection with this game. I've got a connection with the characters and the location in this big mansion. And just whodunit. I've said it time and again, I love murder mystery whodunit movies. We have a renaissance here. We have obviously got your man, what is his goddamn name? Kenneth Branagh. He did Murder on the Orient Express. He is now currently working on The Death on the Nile. Of course, great Agatha Christie adaptations, which have been done before, all featuring stellar cast. We've had Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston working on Murder Mystery, and most recently, Knives Out from the very controversial and, how shall I put it, round-headed director Ryan Johnson. Look, I like Ryan. He's a great director. He did a magnificent job on Knives Out. He is a real figurehead in this renaissance for this genre, apparently expanding out an entire universe of movies with his Knives Out franchise, budding franchise. Could this be another thing which pops itself in there and elbows in for some room? A different take on the genre? A more comedic flair take with an equally stunning cast, spearheaded with Ryan Reynolds. Could he come back for 2-3 movies? Well, I think it would all depend on the success of this first movie. It has been penned by the Deadpool duo Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. They have contributed to at least one draft of the script, so it's in great hands. And look, I am confident that Ryan Reynolds is involved, that he has enough charisma about him to work with some other big names and give us real comedic flair and moments of magic. I can't wait to see it, man. I don't know how to compare it to the original because I haven't even looked at clips of the original. I know Stephen had seen it and he suggested that it's a pretty damn good watch, an intriguing little film. So whilst I'm not a massive fan of Hollywood going down the remake and reboot route, I'm going all American here, time and time again, this seems like this is a particular movie and franchise which is just ripe for being rebooted, remade, with a rise in that genre once again. But look guys, I will move on to the penultimate topic on today's show. Or is it penultimate? Am I tripping out my napper here? No, definitely penultimate topic. It's coming in from Collider and it's an exclusive from them. They have been holding this topic for a week because they didn't want to damage the movie's chances at the Oscars. Well, they didn't damage the movie's chances at the Oscars because it's, of course, Parasite I'm speaking about here, the big winner of the 92nd Academy Awards, taking 4 Oscars. Bong Joon-ho broke history by becoming the first man since Walt Disney back in 1953 to take 4 Oscars in the one night, and they are suggesting that one Mark Ruffalo could be set to star in this upcoming Parasite HBO series. Now look, I spoke about this before and I was a little bit befuddled about why the hell HBO and Bong Joon-ho were wanting to, or Bong Joon-ho, I keep Bong Joon-ho, that's his name. Why did I always get discombobulated with that man's name? It's so simple. But I was confused as to why he was wanting to remake this movie for American and Western audiences when the movie itself seems to have such wide populist appeal throughout the world. It's connecting with a huge array of different markets and demographics. So that slightly confused me, but then I read further into this article and now I see and understand what the man is doing. I see the intelligence within him. And I see remnants of almost a Quentin Tarantino within this man, that he has produced such a rich script, such a rich world with great and interesting characters and just little plot devices ripe for side stories and side arcs, that he can go off and do a 6-hour HBO TV show series set around these little mysterious points in the movie which weren't addressed. And he says that himself. He says the HBO series inspired by Parasite is in the early stages of development. No, that was actually HBO that issued that statement. I'll try and get the Bong Joon-ho statement. He says, when the original housekeeper Moon Gwang, played by Lee Jong-eun, comes back in the late night, something happened to her face. Even her husband asked her about it, but she never answered. Essentially, she had bruises, and she had a strange connection with an architect in this mysterious bunker. And it was never explained in the movie. They moved on because they didn't have time. And he's saying that this is what he's going to do in this TV show. He's going to go off in little side tangents in each episode and explain some of these little mysterious plot points. This sounds incredible to me. This is something we were speaking about with 1917 as well. Just amazing cameos in that movie from Andrew Scott, Benedict Cumberbatch, Colin Firth, Richard Madden. And they were ripe. You just wondered, what are these guys doing? What is happening in the side to this story off screen? It was such a rich environment, such rich characters created, that we could have went off and done a 1 hour tangent with each individual cameo in that movie. And this is the same. And I'm absolutely on board for it. The fact that they are going down the westernised route though, is a little bit of a shame. I understand that they did the Korean thing. It's been an unbelievable success, and maybe he's want to dip his toes into a more western centric thing and see if he can recreate the success with that different audience. And Mark Ruffalo would be a fantastic choice to come in and maybe play the patriarchal poor Kim family figure. The patriarchal figure of the Kim family, of course, the impoverished family. He may be perfect. He has got the chops. He's been nominated for 3 Oscars. This is a man who's been round the block and certainly capable of delivering a fantastic performance, like obviously your man in Parasite did. But one of the things that was so interesting about this movie, incidentally, I have seen it now. I don't want to speak about it in depth. I'm going to be doing a review later on this week, and I really want to speak in depth with Stephen about it. But one of the real interesting things in that movie was that there wasn't one standout player in the acting ensemble. It was a real group performance. They all bounced off each other and delivered a real authentic and touching experience for me as an audience member. So I'm conflicted. I think Mark would be a fantastic choice for this, but then part of me thinks maybe go down an unknown route, maybe keep it authentic to the Southeast Asian Korean vibes by bringing in a Korean cast, maybe bring in the original cast. But look, he's not one to do that. I ain't got much more to add about it. There's a lot of speculation surrounding this. It's still very much in the early stages. Certainly Adam McKay, being a man co-writing it, he is a guy that gets comedy and doing nuanced balancing of genres. Worked with Will Ferrell for many a year, did The Big Short. Fantastic writer, very, very, very experienced, and I'm sure he and Bong Joon-ho will work in tandem very, very well. But look guys, I'm going to move on to the final topic on today's MBE movie news. This one is coming in from Digital Spy, and it's about Marvel boss Kevin Feige Star Wars movie being teased by Avengers Endgame directors. Now this is going to be a very, very, very short topic indeed. It's filler for the end. And essentially what they're saying is that the man is so passionate about Star Wars. It was his real first love. He has a whole basement full to the brim with Star Wars paraphernalia and figurines and whatnot, so much so that he could probably build a museum to rival that of Skywalker Ranch. And they're saying that it was inevitable that he was going to do this. He was so passionate, so emotional and unique in whatever he does. And being such a big fan, and being having such a good relationship with Kathleen Kennedy, these two powerhouse producers, it was inevitable that this was going to happen. So yeah, I mean, look, I do agree. I think he's just a unique storyteller. He's just a unique brain, so hardworking, and what he's managed to achieve over the last 10-15 years is truly remarkable. One of the great success stories of Hollywood is Kevin Feige. And I agree, you see it ripping out of him. He's been at Star Wars Celebration. He's a big fan of this franchise. He gets it. And I think it will be a similar story to what we've seen in The Mandalorian on the more TV-centric Disney Plus side of things with Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and obviously working with an array of really talented directors like Bryce Dallas Howard and Taika Waititi and whatnot. I think it'll be the same here. I think the man is just, he gets what it means to make a real blockbuster movie which connects with demographics all over the place, young, old, from different countries and whatnot. That's one of the real standout things about the MCU for me, the fact that it's boundaryless, barrierless, they're so barrierless, if that's even a word I should say. It connects with everyone. It connects with China, it connects with Japan, it connects with probably Africa, Britain, America, everywhere. And that's because of Kevin Feige and the fact that he knows how to balance genres. He knows just how to bring in the right people in an array of roles. He has an array of contacts through the Marvel side of things. And although these movies are on hiatus at the moment to focus on the TV side of things, I'm already looking forward to what this man is going to bring with this new Star Wars movie. Could it be in the Old Republic? Could it be some standalone goddamn tangent story about some minuscule little character we've never seen before? I don't even care. As long as Kevin Feige is on board, he understands what it was he wants, and he gives us a truly enjoyable and engrossing movie, then I will be delighted. But look guys, I am done, man. I'm speaking the hind legs off. I'm going into a rabbit hole like poor old Anthony Daniels when he was trying to sell a book about 6-7 months ago. What the hell did you guys make about the array of topics I spoke about today? What's your thoughts on Leonardo DiCaprio potentially portraying Evel Knievel in a biopic movie? Is it something you're intrigued by? What do you think about Sony doing a Spider-Man spin-off movie in 2021 in between Homecoming and the next Into the Spider-Verse movie? What's your thoughts on this Clue movie starring the likes of Ryan Reynolds and being directed potentially by James Bobin? What do you think about Parasite and Kevin Feige? If you have anything to say at all, you can comment below and let me know what your thoughts are down below in that comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying content like this. And if you do, then you will see me again tomorrow for another episode of MBE Movie News, and you'll also see me on Friday for our review of Parasite.